opportunity for the Pittsburgh Pirates to win their third consecutive series on the young season, but the Padres come to PNC Park and take 2 out of 3. That's not the biggest story of that weekend or that weekday series with San Diego. We'll get into that, but this is the newest episode of the Bucco Triple podcast. Jack Hillgrove, Rich Donnelly, Don Sloan. San Diego comes to town, guys, and picks up the series win, but the biggest story of the series was that the Konnor Griffin contract became official on Wednesday. The club announces 9 years. Dollar figure not official, but reported to be in the $140 million range. Nonetheless, the Pirates have a new face to the franchise, and he's going to be locked up for the next 9 years. Could you imagine being 19 years old and getting $140 million coming your way? Just an incredible amount of money, guys, and it seems like it's going to an incredible guy as well.
It sure does. And watching that press conference yesterday, you could just see how mature he is and what this means to him and the Pirate fans. When you look at this is a major commitment to the future of this team.
Absolutely. When you have a guy like that, he solidifies your lineup, and I can't wait until we start talking about him as a player every day and the little things that he does, base running, fielding, instead of talking about him as the 19-year-old who got all the money. He's part of the team. Like in June and July, we won't even talk about that anymore. So as soon as we get to that point and this kid can relax and just play, I think the Pirates will be a much better ball club.
A lot of talk yesterday about Jack, about whether or not he should have played. What are your thoughts on the fact that they signed him, but he didn't start in a game?
Well, Don Kelly told us it was a scheduled day off for Konnor Griffin. Now, if that was from a sheer he's 19 years old and he played a full week, let's get him a day of rest standpoint, you could see the argument of that. I believe it was because they knew that this was coming. They knew that there would be a lot of fanfare before the game, contract extension, press conference, all that stuff, and then give him the day off. Because at the end of the day, he's 19 years old. And now we're at the point with Konnor Griffin, and he said this to the media yesterday, now I can just play baseball. You think about how much pressure, and I know Rich was talking about that a little bit, you think about how much pressure at 19 years old coming up and not wanting to get injured, not wanting to do anything that would potentially jeopardize a giant contract to the likes of 19-year-olds don't ever receive very often, no matter what they do for a living, and they're able to get it done. His agency was able to get it done with an organization that isn't really known for making these kind of deals. I mean, if you think about it, 9 years, $140 million, that is a contract that a lot of major league organizations hand out from time to time. Pirates, this is their most lucrative and longest contract in franchise history, and it's going to a 19-year-old who's played for a week in the major leagues. It goes to show you that the Pirates have changed, but it also goes to show you what this kid is worth and what he's capable of doing on the field. Again, you're looking at it right now if you're watching it on YouTube. They had a press conference yesterday. Bob Nutting, Ben Cherington, and of course Konnor Griffin. And Griffin talked about just the relief and the excitement that this deal's done. Let's take a listen to Griffin from Wednesday's press conference.
Pumped to be a Pirate and be a part of this wonderful clubhouse. I'm pumped to go compete. The goal is to win. The goal is to win a World Series, and I think we got a great clubhouse to go do that.
But obviously this is a long-term commitment. It's a long-term statement of where we're headed as an organization, where we're headed with this team. And so being able to impact now and assure future has me particularly excited.
And what you couldn't see when the camera was focused on Mr. Nutting was what was behind all the cameras. The entire clubhouse. And that was one of the things that struck me as, okay, these guys are locked into this season. They have tremendous chemistry. And I know you guys talked about that a little bit, Don and Rich, but the fact that quite literally every member of the team came in to support Konnor Griffin in that moment, in that press conference. Again, it shows you the character that Griffin has, the chemistry that this team has, and how much they like him. I think it was an awesome display of camaraderie and goes to show you, okay, these guys might be good, but they've got the chemistry to be able to figure out, where they can end up this season.
Yeah, and that does say a lot, Jack, about that chemistry and what the other players think of Griffin. $106 million to Brian Reynolds back in 2023. That was the last major commitment the Pirates made like this in a big contract. But Griffin, your thoughts on yesterday? You agree with him not playing?
Yeah, a lot going on yesterday. The press conference. all the adulation, all the interviews. He probably had to leave 60, 70 tickets. Take a breath, exhale, take the day off. He's going to get a few more days off this year also. And the thing I like about DK is he's given everybody a start here and there. Yorkie, Gonzalez, whoever. They got Triello out now. So there's more opportunities for these guys to get starts. And giving a guy a day off, I'll tell you, if they made a big deal out of it yesterday, when they get to July and August, they're going to forget that he even had a day off. So I think the coolest thing, and you both had mentioned it, the team, each day they accept him more as one of their guys, not some freak from outer space who's a superstar. No, he's one of them. And I think that's all he wants to be. And once he is accepted like that, which he almost all is already, he feels like, hey, I'm just one of the guys. I'm not this guy, this phenom. I'm just one of the guys on a good team. And as we go along in this season, we're going to talk about him as a great player, not as being 19 and having $100 million in the bank.
And you mentioned Nick York yesterday, 3 for 3. He had a walk, he had a hit the night before too. So he's a guy taking advantage of his playing time. And Jack, this pitching, Keller in that game, the night before, Paul Skeens, the pitching getting exactly what we expected out of the starters.
Yeah, absolutely. And my biggest takeaway from that, Paul Skeens is going to do what Paul Skeens does. I was actually a tad miffed at the fact that Mitch Keller was pulled after 6 innings and 75 pitches. And I can't help but think that series finale against the Padres goes a different way if Mitch Keller gets back out there for the 7th inning. I understand that we are in a pitch count world, and elbow injuries and Tommy Johns and PCLs and all that stuff is more common now than ever. But at 75 pitches, and you look at the way that this game has been evolving over the last several years with how these players are managed, I understand it. But 75 pitches to me is not a lot, especially when you can get to, and the way that Keller was pitching, who's to say that he doesn't come out and goes 10 pitches in the 6th or in the 7th inning and gets to 85, or 15 and gets to 90. So to me, if Mitch Keller pitches a 7th inning and you don't have Justin Lawrence in that spot, that game goes potentially a different way. Paul Skeens a little bit different, 87 through 6 1/3. Like, I understand that. 75 to me is just not a lot of pitches, guys.
I'll say this, you got to be careful early in the season, because it's a long season. You don't want to get guys hurt and all that. Sometimes the pitcher will come out. One day he'll pitch 85 pitches and he'll say, I'm done. The next time he'll go on 75 pitches, hey, I'm done. How you feel, Mitch? I'm getting a little tired. As soon as they ask him, as soon as he says, I'm a little, boom, you're done. And what I like, the Pirates starting pitching, like I said, it's been the best in baseball. They are 7-5. If they go 7-5 every 12 games for the rest of the year, look and see how many wins that is. I'll take it. We're in the playoffs.
And Lawrence had pitched very well this year up until yesterday, and he did not have a good outing yesterday. So when he came in, I didn't want to see Keller go out, but I still had confidence when Lawrence came into the game.
Yeah, and Don Kelly talked about that after the game yesterday, and again talked a little bit about the pitch count and that being the reason that Mitch Keller was taken out of the game. Let's listen to the Pirates manager after the Wednesday loss on why Mitch Keller was ultimately pulled after 75 in 6 innings.
He was nearing his pitch limit, and coming off a first time going on regular rest, and really felt really good about the pocket that Lawrence was going into. Obviously, didn't work out great. But Lawrence has been so good for us. Dominant for us a lot of times out of the back end of that pen that, at the end of last year and even this year so far, felt really good about putting him in that spot.
And it'll get better. And I think Justin Lawrence is a good relief pitcher, and it just happened to have a bad outing right after that. And I think it'll get better, but again, 75 pitches to me doesn't seem like a whole lot, and I would have liked to see at least Mitch Keller at the beginning of the 6th or the 7th inning. And it might have gone a different way. Who knows? But nonetheless, the starting pitching's been good, and I agree with Rich. If they go 7-5 every 12 games, then it becomes 4 games above 500, then 6, then 8, then 10, and then the wins really start to stack up. So nonetheless, despite the series loss, it has been a very good start to the 2026 campaign for the Pirates as they turn to Chicago. We'll talk about the Cubs series, the first one in Wrigley. Later on in the program, we also dive in to Rich's treasure chest on the Bucco Triple Play, presented by Laudemus Communications and Security. Pirates fans protect what matters most with Laudemus Communications and Security. From homes to businesses, their managed security systems are monitored 24/7 and built with cutting-edge technology, giving you control, confidence, and even instant lockdown when it matters most. Laudemus Communications and Security, always connected, always protected. And the Bucco Triple Play also is presented by Just Right Home Care, who's hiring competitive wages, flexible hours, and paid travel expenses. Join our team of reliable and friendly caregivers by applying in person at 2197 National Road, Wheeling, or calling 304-233-1414 to set up an interview. It's the Bucco Triple Play. The National Gold and Silver Refinery, also a sponsor of the Bucco Triple Play. Gold is trading around $5,000 an ounce, and now is the time to sell your gold. Due to popular demand, the National Gold and Silver Refinery in the Holiday Inn in Weirton, West Virginia has expanded hours, open Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., and Fridays until 4 p.m. Get top dollar in cash from the team you can trust. The National Gold and Silver Refinery, the sponsor of our segment, The Rich's Treasure Chest. And it's now time to open the National Gold and Silver Refinery Rich's Treasure Chest with today's guest, Eduardo Perez from MLB, ESPN, MLB Network, and Sirius XM Radio, another name that Rich Donnelly has gone back in baseball with for a very long time. He is the guest on the National Gold and Silver Refinery Rich's Treasure Chest, Eduardo Perez.
And we've got a special one today. Eduardo Perez from Sirius XM Radio now and the MLB Network.
Yeah, Eduardo and I have been connected for a lot of years. Of course, I work with his Hall of Fame dad, Tony, and then I got to coach against Eduardo, through our big league years, trying to figure out how to get him out once in a while. Because I tell you what, he was a tough out. #1 draft pick out of Florida State University, and a great career now in broadcasting.
Yeah, and thanks for having me, guys. Really, and let's not forget ESPN, also the parent company. We're still doing baseball games. It's going to be more strategic this year as we're going to start our games. We have one April 15th, but May, June, it's going to be the Boys of Summer on ESPN as well. So we're going to crowd the space in the baseball side of it. But the season started, guys, and the Buccos not too bad so far early on.
Well, it's funny because Rich and I talk. Sometimes you're like too close to things, so we're excited. We're amped up about I don't want to sound like Steve Phillips here. That's his co-host.
I'm used to it.
Who's like Mr. Energy, but yeah, we're excited. We're all amped up about the Pirates. But Rich and I always talk about what's the national perception. But then watching you guys this morning, you talked about the Pirates right off the get-go today.
Yeah, look, to me, this is their time, right? And they're trying to open it up more than just a window. We always hear the mid-tier teams, the teams with limited resources say, is the window open? I think the window is wide open right now, and I don't think it's going to shut for any time soon. I picked the Pirates to be a wild card team. I picked the Pirates to play better, and I think a lot of it has to do with the talent that they have, yes, on the field, the moves that they made in the offseason. They get Ryan O'Hearn, who I think is one of the most underrated players in the game. The numbers he has put up the last few years, I think, are real. I think the ballpark is conducive to who he is as a player, with the Clemente wall being there at 21 feet. We've seen the 4 home runs he's already hit this season. I think adding a Marcell Ozuna, not only to the lineup, but to the clubhouse, is going to work for O'Neal Cruz as well. And I think when you're able to get left-handed hitters that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, it just makes it tougher for opposing pitchers to really dissect the team like it's done in the past. And you add all those things, you put it together with the youth movement of Griffin being now added to the roster, 3 consecutive wins at home to start the season against the Orioles, I think sends a message to the rest of the league, sends a message to the fan base. Those things really do add up. And then the starting pitching that I haven't touched upon, has really come on really well. We know about Skeens, but what about the supporting cast? What Braxton Ashcraft did being able to shut down the Orioles through 6 innings, I think works. And I think this will give the offense a chance to play, and it will give the bullpen an opportunity to be more consistent.
You talk about O'Neal Cruz. Last year, he had 11 hits against left-handed pitchers. Offseason hires a left-handed pitcher to throw to him. He's already got 7 hits against lefties and 3 home runs.
Yeah. Guys, O'Neal Cruz, there's a couple things that worked for him. One, I think it's who are you hanging around with in the offseason, right? How are you going to get better in the offseason? He addressed that. He got that left-handed arm. But I think most importantly was the learning lesson that he has had during the World Baseball Classic, I think plays for him. It could be a double-edged sword, right? It could be, well, he didn't get to practice his defense as much being in the World Baseball Classic, and we saw it early on. We saw it against the Mets. We saw it the other day when it comes to communication with Ryan O'Hearn in right field. But at the same time, what he has learned being around his leader in Albert Pujols for Team Dominican Republic plays. What he learned being around Manny Machado, seeing leadership on the field, plays. What he's been around, being around Fernando Tatis Jr., showing energy, and being around Julio Rodriguez, showing consistency, and around all the other Dominican greats, plays. Nelson Cruz being another one, the general manager of the Team Dominican Republic. So that experience of being around that type of greatness for 2 weeks, I think showed him the seriousness of what could happen if he becomes one of the great players, and then the Pittsburgh Pirates can benefit from it. But still, he has to get better, Rich, and you know this, defensively. If he doesn't, that's going to be his Achilles heel. But he has all the opportunity to be able to run, to be able to hit for power, and now addressing the left-handed pitching, man, all that is going to benefit the Buccos in a major way.
Their starting pitching could be the best in the big leagues because their 4th and 5th starters aren't 4 and 5 guys. These guys are maybe 1s, maybe 2s on other teams.
They're giving themselves opportunity, limiting the big inning. They're going to have to field the ball. They have to play a legit defense. If they're able to do that, this is a team that can compete. I think, but you're right. The starting staff, everybody is so focused on Paul Skeens, and are we going to get Paul Skeens in a 3-game series? Are we going to miss Paul Skeens? Guess what? You have to deal with Ashcraft. You have to deal with you have to go out there and deal with Mitch Keller as well. And in any other staff, Mitch Keller would be a 1 or 2, and in this one he's a 2. The way that they've been able to continue to pitch, executing, is giving their offense an opportunity. And Rich, you know this. If you have really good starting pitching, that now creates consistent bullpenning. And the bullpen has also been able to do the job. I love the fact that Urquidy has been able to morph into anything that they want. I think he's going to play even a bigger role as the season continues to go on. He's 2 years removed from Tommy John as well. So all these things play according to the numbers. And oh, by the way, Jared Jones, who had Tommy John in, if I'm not mistaken, May of last year, end of May of last year, you could be looking at a Jared Jones that could affect the team down the stretch in September, or even if they do make the playoffs, October. But this is a buy now team. And I love the fact that they were aggressive this offseason in making trades and acquiring free agent bats.
Skeens didn't pitch, and neither did Bubba Chandler, and you swept the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. And the thing is, I love the message as well that Ryan O'Hearn sent, saying, look, we can hit. We're a legit team. I think it's not only a message for the fans. It's not only a message for the rest of the league. It's a message to the clubhouse, right? It's like, we believe that what we did this weekend it was emotional weekend, right? Because you get Griffin now in the big leagues. Even though offensively, yes, he gets his first hit, a big double, his first at bat, drives in a run, scores a run, diving into home. Didn't do much offensively later, but defensively, he's shown that he can play the game. I think it's a message sent to that clubhouse. This is our time. We have to continue believing in us. They have to dominate home.
We mentioned this briefly earlier, but how big of an impact can a veteran like Marcell Ozuna have on O'Neal Cruz and his development?
I think it's huge, especially with the adversity that Marcell Ozuna has had in his past. We all know the stories of if it's the domestic stuff, and all that, and he's become a better man for it. I hope he has. He's shown it throughout the years that he has. And this is a country, and this is I believe in second opportunities. And I think because of those experiences that he's had, failures off the field and failures on the field and success on the field, I think it's going to make a huge impact on a guy like O'Neal Cruz. And it's because of, and it's not just because of understanding that this game, the game of baseball, it's how do you deal with failure more than anything. If we're successful 3 out of 10 times, we become that 300 hitter. But those other 7 times, those failures, how do you become better from it? And this game is unlike any other. This game is an opportunistic game where anyone can be a hero at any given time on the offensive side or on the defensive side of the game as well. So this is about turning the page. This is about understanding culturally where you stand as a team and understanding that the game of baseball is played differently here in the United States than it is played in Latin America. And Rich, you're a great example of it, right? You've seen what winter baseball is like in Puerto Rico. You've seen what winter baseball looks like in other parts of the world as well. And how do we translate that passion and consistency in 187 days into 162 games? How do we turn that page, and how do we continue to become better day after day? And I think this is where Marcell Ozuna could play a direct impact into who O'Neal Cruz could be as a player moving on as a Pittsburgh Pirate.
Eduardo, you were a hell of a player, #1 draft pick out of Florida State. But the thing I always remember, you Cardinal guys, you played different positions. One day you'd start in left field, the next day you're at third base, and I'm going, how do they do that? Well, getting back to Cruz, how hard is it? He was a shortstop, and in the middle of the season, oh, by the way, you're going to play center field from now on.
I know.
How hard is that?
It's really difficult. I try to think back and I look at like Ahmed Rosario, where they tried to make him a center field immediately, and it just did not work, right? And he was a shortstop, and because the metrics weren't great, they're like, oh, you know what? He's a shortstop. He can go play center field. Robin Yount did it. Why can't another guy do it? Craig Biggio did it from second base and moved to center field. Why can't other guys do it? And usually a lot of the big leaguers were shortstops because they were the best players on their team, and they ended up actually having to move to the outfield. Every player is built differently. And I think when you are in the shortstop position where you are the center of attention, right? Because that's the quarterback position defensively in the infield. And all of a sudden you go to the outfield, you find yourself sort of biting your nails. Okay, what do I do next? You find yourself like, okay, the game is really slow out here, and you can start just not focusing as much as you should. And I look at the center field position as it's not an easy position, right? Those line drives coming at you, what do? The communication with the outfield, what do you do? So there's a lot that goes, all the intricacies of that position, knowing that if you call the ball, everybody has to get out of the way in center field, any ball hit in the air, all those things, all those little nuances you have to learn. So it's easier said than done, but in the middle of the season where they asked him to go out there to the outfield, how was that message sent to him? Was it a positive message saying, look, we believe you can make a direct impact, a better impact, and it can be better for you to focus just on offense? I wonder how that message was sent to O'Neal originally in the office than just saying, look, we don't think you're good enough at shortstop. You got to go to the outfield. We believe in your bat, but you're killing us off defensively at shortstop. So all those messages, how were they sent to him, and how did he take it? And I hope that it was done in a positive way. And I hope that the message that continues to be sent to him in center field is in a positive way so he can continue being the best version of himself.
And that's an example of some of the great insight that you can get on the leadoff spot every morning with these guys. And Eduardo, kind of a thing I like that you guys did the other day, you went to a game. You can be the press box any place you want. You went to a game as a fan. Tell me about that experience going to the Marlins game as a fan in the outfield.
By the way, there were 6,000 people that were. I think it was more like 4,000. I was a little tipped at that. So
that was a complete game. That was a complete game day from Alcantara, right?
That was a CG from Alcantara, right? Yeah. He threw a CG, and even Steve. And I don't. This is why I love Steve, because I love that when he's wrong, and he doesn't admit it. But I call him out and I let him know. Alcantara throws a complete game. We're so unaccustomed to seeing complete games in today's game, right, Rich? So frustrating, where guys get pulled out after 71 pitches, and you're like, he didn't even have a high stress inning. Steve was complaining that Alcantara, who threw 93 pitches in the game, should have not. It was like, why was he still out there? He was out there because he was getting outs at an economical rate. The 8th inning alone, he threw 5 pitches.
Oh my.
Yes, you reward the guy with go back out there. If you allow a runner on in the 9th inning, I'm going to take you out. But if you don't, keep going. We don't know the science behind a guy having a strained shoulder or a blowout elbow. At the end of the day, what the Marlins did was responsible in going out there. And as a fan, I got to enjoy a hot dog. I got to be able to enjoy. I'll be honest with you. I didn't buy a Coke because I got it from the press box and then I went down. I'm no dummy. I'm also not going to be spending my money like that. But I enjoyed being able to sit in right field for a couple innings. Got a ball thrown at me by Owen Casey in between innings. That was cool. And then went to left field, watched the seats, the bleacher side of it. I love seeing that perspective because I want to see if the outfielders are getting in position to field a ball being pitched at that time. If they're in that tells you a lot. It tells you a lot with the interaction of the players. It tells you a lot about the personality of the players. So, and look, let's be with the people. It was awesome. By the way, Saturday I was able to enjoy also a game from Inter Miami Soccer. I'd never gone to a professional soccer game, and I saw Lionel Messi score a goal.
Wow.
In their so this is sitting with the fans is so much fun for me, and it's this is what sports are all about.
And you found the $3 hot dog.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, let's not bury the lead. Behind the plate, the same hot dog. $7.75. You go out to the outfield and the bleachers, the 305 section, $3 for a hot dog, $5 instead of paying like $9 for a beer, $5 beer as well out there in the outfield. I mean, there are angels in the outfield, and it's with hot dogs and beer.
I'm so glad that he said that, though, because that reaffirms it. Because I went last year to the game in Florida when the Pirates played. I came back. All I told people about the $3 hot dog. They go, well, how many beers did you have?
Only if you go to Costco, you can get a cheaper dog in the Coke.
Yeah. Because there's no such thing as $3 hot dogs, but there are at the Florida Marlins game.
Eduardo, I really appreciate you being with us this morning. You're a class act. I've known you and your whole family forever, and continue success on your shows.
I appreciate you, and by the way, love the treasure chest. So I appreciate you guys having me on. And again, it's always fun to be able to talk to people that have taught us the game, and that's who you are. And again, it does not go unnoticed. And thank you for having this, and thank you for giving access to the fans as well. And this is what it's about. It's baseball. It's a 162 game season. It's a grind, and I hope the Buccos continue to play the game of baseball the way that their roster is set up. And so far, so good. If you're a Buccos fan, well deserved, long deserved.
Give my best to your mom and dad.
Oh man, definitely, I will do that.
They're the best. They're the best.
Awesome stuff there from Eduardo Perez and the National Gold and Silver Refinery. Rich's treasure chest. Do you have gold or unwanted jewelry, now is the time to sell. Due to popular demand, the National Gold and Silver Refinery at the Holiday Inn in Weirton is open Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Fridays until 4, with gold trading around $5,000 an ounce. Now is the time to sell. We've talked to Eduardo Perez, Tim Kirchin, Sean Casey, and a lot more on the National Gold and Silver Refinery, Rich's treasure chest, and a lot of fantastic discussion. If you missed a couple of episodes of the Bucco Triple Play, scan that QR code on your screen. It'll take you to wherever you need to go to either watch or listen. You can watch us on YouTube with episodes every Monday and Thursday, and you can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Scan that QR code and check us out. It's the Bucco Triple Play. If you've missed, again, a couple of episodes, be sure to scan that QR code and check out a couple of our previous episodes. And we talked about the Padres series. That's over. We move on. The first series against the Chicago Cubs in 2026. We preview that. It's a weekend series in Wrigley. We'll talk about the Cubs and also go back into the Pirates broadcast booth with former Pirates closer and now current Pirates broadcaster Matt Capps. All that and more coming up on the Bucco Triple Play as we take a look at the Cubs series this weekend. Bucco Triple Play brought to you by Just Right Home Care. If you're looking for compassionate, reliable care for a loved one in the Wheeling area, Just Right Home Care is here to help. Their dedicated team provides personalized in-home support, from daily assistance and companionship to specialized care, so your family member can stay safe and comfortable at home. With a focus on dignity, respect, and peace of mind, Just Right Home Care treats every client like family. Learn more today, because the right care makes all the difference. Just Right Home Care, 304-233-1414. The Bucco Triple Play brought to you by Mike Nogue Law. In life-changing moments, you need a lawyer who's ready to stand firm. Mike Nogue has over 40 years of courtroom experience securing results in personal injury, medical malpractice, and serious criminal defense cases across West Virginia, Ohio, and PA. That's Weirton attorney Mike Nogue Law, where your fight is his fight. Jack Hillgrove, Rich Donnelly, Don Sloan, the Bucco Triple Play podcast, the first series of the season between the Bucks and the Cubs, an NL Central rivalry. And guys, who would have thought 12 games in, the Pirates going to face the last place Cubs? They're 6-6 to start the season. Something tells me that won't change, because this Cubs roster is very talented, and a lot of people predicted the Cubs to be the top team in the NL Central when it's all said and done.
Yeah, the Cubs went and spent a lot of money in the offseason, but the injury has been out. He should be back in a couple of weeks. Matthew Boyd just now going on the IL, and they've had other pitchers on that staff that have struggled with injury issues. But the Pirates went to Cincy. They took 2 out of 3 from the Reds. You've got to win these division games, an important series in Chicago.
Absolutely. You know, these road games, the Cubs are a contender, and in some places they've been picked to win the division. So you're going to go into Wrigley, and the first thing you want to do when you go into Wrigley, you better check the flag. In April, if the temperature is 50 or below, the wind usually blows in. If it's 55 or maybe above, the flag blows out. So the first thing when the Buccos get off the bus, the pitcher who's going to pitch that day, walk out into the bleachers and check that flag up. If it's blowing out, you better use your sinker a lot. Because if it's blowing out, a pop-up in the infield will blow all the way out. It's unbelievable. So this will be a great test for the Pirates. Like we talked about before, play 500 on the road. You don't have to win every game. Dominated home, 500 on the road. That's the formula for a playoff team.
Does the wind get in the head of the hitters? You're like, okay, it's blowing out, I'm going to really muscle up, or I've got to do this because it's blowing out or blowing in.
One day, back in the day, we had a pitcher named Vicente Palacios, and the wind was howling, blowing out. So Leland told our trainer, Kent Biggerstaff, don't let Vicente out of the trainer's room. If he sees this wind blowing out, he'll be a mess. So Jim goes out for batting practice, and there we called him a chief. The chief is standing there, and they're hitting balls on the roof of the houses. And Jim says to Vicente, he says, Chief, how you feel? He said, Skip, I feel good, but the hitters, they feel better. And he pitched a 6-hit shutout because of what you said. Sammy Sosa and those guys were launching, and they were popping it up. So to your point, it could play into the hands of the pitchers if the hitters try to launch.
Yeah, and I think, too, we look at Santana didn't pitch the last couple of days. I think we've got a rested bullpen heading to Wrigley.
Speaking of the bullpen, a guy that knows quite a bit about pitching out of the Pirates bullpen, top 10 all-time in saves, 67 career saves in 5 seasons in a Pirates uniform. Closer turned broadcaster, Matt Capps, now a member of the Pirates radio network and the Pirates broadcast team, working alongside Joe Block and Greg Brown, and he got a chance to sit down with Don and Rich as we look ahead to the Cubs. Let's turn to former closer, current broadcaster, Matt Capps with Don and Rich.
Santana and Soto, I think they kind of have a feel. They probably both prepare to start pitching in the 8th inning, would be my guess. And then you look at the lineup and you look at guys that are on deck, and you start thinking along with the manager. And, that all goes back to communication in spring training. Donnie Kelly is a fantastic communicator. I'm sure that conversation with Soto and Santana both, and probably everybody in the bullpen, Isaac Mattson with his role, and then Miguel Perez down in the bullpen, continuing to stay on top of that communication with guys, kind of anticipating when they would be used and things like that. But, they both, everybody that's come out of that bullpen has shown flashes of brilliance. Santana and Soto to stay on the 2 late inning guys. They both have the ability to close. They both have closing experience. But I heard Dennis Santana say, I don't know if it was in an interview or just in conversation, I don't care. I just want to win, and I want to win with the Pirates. So if I need to be used in the 8th inning tonight, the 9th inning tomorrow, whatever it takes to win these ball games is what I want to do. Joe Block's favorite thing to say on the broadcast is a manager has a lot more information than we have up in the booth, and that is very true.
Exactly.
So I'm not here to second guess any decision that was made on usage, but there's a lot that goes into it.
Matt, the strength of his team is surely, the pitching. And so far, I am really impressed with these starters. Our 4th and 5th starters don't throw like 4th and 5th starters to me. They throw like guys who could be possibly 1s and 2s on other teams. I know it's early, but right now, I tell you what, this rotation looks like, we'll keep our fingers crossed for health and everything, that they could be among one of the best in baseball.
Well, I think without a doubt, you look 1 through 5. I said, when you look at the starting rotation and the guy that's been the number 1 for a long time for the Pittsburgh Pirates and Mitch Keller, you could make an argument that any given week, he's your number 4, number 5. And that's not a knock on Keller at all. Mitch Keller is one of my favorite pitchers to watch, and certainly one of my favorite people that I've come across in my career. It's just the stuff's incredible. Skeens is who Skeens is. Braxton Ashcraft, he's got the same type of stuff. Bubba Chandler's start in Cincinnati, I mean, he was sitting 100, topping 101 plus. I think the slowest fastball he threw in that ball game was like just under 99 miles an hour. And Rich, you probably remember watching me pitch a little bit. I love Bubba Chandler, like he goes after guys with his fastball. It's incredible. A lot of at-bats that were 4 or 5 pitches, all he threw was the heater. And why not? Until a guy shows you that he can hit it and turn it around, why take a chance on making a mistake with a 2nd, 3rd, or 4th pitch? Chandler's ability to throw his changeup and command his changeup and do the back and forth with the gas pedal, I think is elite. I want to see a little more consistency with his breaking ball. He made some mistakes in the zone that probably consistently doesn't get away with, but he knows that, and he knows that breaking ball has got to come along to have that sustained success for him. Carmen Mlodzinski as well. 2 years ago, last year, I watched Carmen pitch, and this guy could be an elite. You talk about elite closer. But he wants to start. I appreciate the drive and the desire for him to want to start, and he voiced that, and the Pirates are willing to give him the opportunity. I think as he gets more comfortable with a split finger and the curveball, two pitches that he really kind of picked up last year and spent a lot of time this winter working on. I think that's going to give him the ability to go deeper into ball games and be a starter.
With this rotation, all the starting rotation, all righties, being a lefty in this bullpen is key. And we're seeing, Hunter Bucco, we've got Soto and Montgomery. Talk to me about those guys. I tell you what, they've all shown flashes. And Montgomery, he's had issues with walks, but sometimes he creates his problem. The next thing, he'll strike out 3 guys and get out of it.
Yeah. Well, you hit the nail on the head right there. With Mason Montgomery, he's just got to be in the strike zone. That fastball is incredible. From the left side to be able to run it up 100 miles an hour. And then he's got a breaking ball that is, I think he calls it a slider. And I guess it's more of a slurvy type shape to it. I hate to say slurvy because it's pretty sharp, but it's quite a bit slower. So he's able to seesaw back and forth guys with the spin, which is good. And Barco's got that bulldog mentality in him. I mean, what he did in that Saturday ball game in New York was incredible. To come in that situation and not panic, to be able to execute pitches, and not to mention the play he made at home plate was just absolutely incredible. I know he ended up taking the loss in the next inning, but to get through that 10th inning the way he got through it, I mean, he showed a ton of maturity, and he looked like he'd been there for a long time.
So one of the things that we have to figure out about how good this team is, right? We've talked about it all show, since this podcast has been launched. Yes, the Pirates are a better team. Well, you're going to figure out how much better, because this team last year was 3-10 against the Chicago Cubs. That is domination. And the Cubs have been a good team. They are a good team. And they dominated what was a bad team last year in the Pittsburgh Pirates, 10-3 against them. Is that going to change in 2026? If the Pirates want to be a playoff team, it has to, and it all starts this weekend in Wrigley. First time the Pirates face the Cubs in 2026. Let's take a look at the pitching matchups. Not a great one to start this series. Carmen Mlodzinski has been solid, but I look more at Shota Imanaga, who's going to make his 3rd start of the season for the Cubs. A 4.50 ERA, but more importantly, his career stats against the Pirates have been phenomenal. 23 innings and 4 appearances, a .35 ERA. I'm sorry, 23 strikeouts in 25 innings, but a .35 ERA against the Pirates in 4 starts is pretty good. New lineup for the Pirates, sure, different bats, but Imanaga's career numbers against the Buccos definitely work in his favor. Let's take a look at the pitching matchup for Saturday's game between the Cubs. It's Braxton Ashcraft and Edward Cabrera. Couple of good ones here, and how about Ashcraft's start to the season? We'll see if he can continue to keep it rolling in hostile territory. And then Sunday, the Pirates face a familiar name, former Bucco Jamison Tyone. Top draft pick of the Pirates back in 2011. Now has made a pretty darn good career for himself, going to the Yankees and now the Cubs, a 2.53 ERA and a couple of starts against Bubba Chandler, who's off to a pretty decent start as well, a 3.12 ERA. So it's Mlodzinski, Ashcraft, and Chandler in 3 matchups for the Cubs, against the Cubs in 2026 in this first series. Let's continue to move along here on the Bucco Triple Play, guys. Talk a little bit about how you guys think that this pitching matchup shakes out against the Pirates this time around for the Cubs. And again, Imanaga's numbers for his career against the Pirates have been really, really good.
Well, I think the first game out there, the nice thing we know, if we do have to get into our bullpen, the bullpen has been rusted. You've got Santana. He's going to be ready to go. They didn't go as deep into the bullpen the last couple of days, so I think that's going to help them out.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about our starting pitching and our pitching as a whole. I feel pretty good. Like if we get the lead, maybe in the 6th or 7th inning, I feel pretty good about the guys coming in, Soto, Santana, whoever, to close the game out. On the offensive side, I think we need a little more production from guys like Osuna. Get him started. Maybe the wind's blowing out and he hits a pop-up and it goes out and he goes, hey, I'm pretty good. The confidence factor. Then Henry Davis, same way. I think we need a little more production out of guys like that. I mean, the guys so far that have hit are mainly the left-hand hitters. But I think if we can get some pop out of our right-hand hitters in this series and try to get the lead, the whole idea when you have a good pitching staff is get the lead and then we'll hold them. And I think we can do that.
Yeah, so had the day game, a day off, it'll be a rested Pirate team heading to Wrigley.
Yeah, facing a really good Cubs lineup as we take a look at it if you're watching it on YouTube. And they've made some additions, and their star is Pete Crow Armstrong in center field. I mean, this is a young, up-and-coming superstar in Major League Baseball, and he's going to be in the middle of that lineup, and the Pirates are going to have to worry about him. In addition to Ian Happ. Now, he's day-to-day, Mount Lebanon, Pittsburgh native, who has given the Pirates fits over the years in a Cubs uniform. He's dealing with a little injury. It'll be interesting to see how he is incorporated into the Cubs lineup this weekend, if at all. They add Alex Bregman, and they've got Dansby Swanson, Carson Kelly, Matt Shaw, Michael Busch at the top of that lineup as well. This is a Cubs offense, and this is a large part of the reason why, guys, a lot of people pick the Cubs to win the 2026 version of the NL Central. It's because of this lineup. It's improved, and it's really good, and it's centered around a young superstar in PCA.
Yeah, my buddy Craig Counsell, good manager over there, they were predicted to be 1 or 2 in this division. Great test for the Buccos to see if they could play with a contender, play with them, maybe sneak out a win or two. When you are a playoff team, you have to beat the contenders, and you have to beat them on the road. Like I said before, we're trying to be a 500 or better team on the road, then take care of business at home, dominate. So far, they've done that. Hopefully, they can continue starting tomorrow.
Now, I want you to put your manager's cap on. You're playing the Cubs. You've got a division game here, a big series in the division. Next series is the Nationals. The 5th day for Paul Skeens would be Sunday, but the rotation brings up Bubba Chandler. Are you tempted to put Skeens in the game to pitch on Sunday against the Cubs, or have him wait till Monday and stay with the rotation?
I guess I've learned this from my old boss, Jim. Don't try to be tricky. Don't try to be tricky. When you try to be tricky at that level, you get tricked yourself. I'd like to keep them on their 5th day. I don't care if they're playing against the Steubenville Legion. That's the team you're going to pitch against. You try to get tricky and it doesn't work, then you're going to pay for it down the line. So far, just keep everybody on their right day. We got the best. I still think we have the best starting pitching in baseball. You don't want to mess it up.
Which would have Skeens starting on a Monday night against the Nats.
Yeah, I'm with Rich. I just stick to it. Paul Skeens will get his opportunities against the Cubs, and he'll need to, obviously, and I mentioned it as we started this segment talking about this Cubs series. If the Pirates are a playoff team, it's quite simple for me. You got to be better than 3-10 against these Chicago Cubs, which I think they will be when it's all said and done this season, but 3-10 against the Cubs last year, giant red flag. And we'll find out how good this team is in comparison to Chicago starting this weekend in Wrigley Field. Let's go to our 3 up and 3 down across Major League Baseball as we transition into the national part of this show. Don Sloan, your 3 up. You picked the pierogi race winner. What day was this?
Well, I'll tell you why. You go into the MLB app, and every game you can play a couple games. What inning will they score?
Well,
runs.
you can predict this on. I didn't know this. I might have to.
We'll have to try this out.
Yeah.
So it's on the MLB app, and you go to games, and you can pick the pierogi race winner, and you can pick what inning this Pirates score, 4th or 5th or 6th. Last year, never got the pierogi winner right. 2 for 2 for the first 2 games this year.
What do you win?
You get in a drawing, I think, to win a steak at the restaurant.
Yeah,
Rich Donnelly, you're 3 up.
Well, I love Walter Weiss. I've loved him as a player, but I'm going to give him the up this week for tackling and taking out Jorge Soler in that fight they had the other night. Walter is probably 175, maybe 5'11", but he's a black belt. And in the fight, he didn't go after Soler, his former teammate, from the waist up. He went down and tackled him and rolled him out and kept him out of the fight before he killed somebody.
It was a perfect form tackle.
It was a perfect tackler, and Soler was his former teammate and said after, he saved me from killing that guy. So, because Walter said Soler was on a warpath, about 6'4", about 230. Walter went low. It was like a beautiful sack in the NFL.
My 3 up, bad teams. And I put that in parentheses, bad teams, if you saw it on our graphic, if you're watching on YouTube. Like, you look at the standings so far. I mean, nobody expected the White Sox to be any good this season. The same could be said for the Colorado Rockies. Colorado is 6-6 to start the season. The Nationals, same thing. They're 4-8 to go along with the White Sox, who are 4-8. The worst record so far through 12-13 games are the Seattle Mariners at 4-9, and that's a team that is projected to make the playoffs. So you're not seeing any of these bad teams start the season 1-11 or 2-10. Now, there's plenty of room for that to be had at some point in the regular season, but nobody is off to an atrocious start to the regular season, which I think is a good thing to see, because you start to see, a little bit more competitive baseball early on in the season. Let's go to 3 down. Don Sloan, what is the first of the 3 down for you, good sir?
It's about, once again, being a fan in the stands. So Tuesday night, there's these 4 guys right across from me. 3 of them have baseball mitts on. Foul ball right to them. They all went after it. Nobody got the ball. It went and dropped and went down the tunnel. And then I went up and I was talking to them like, and we're college baseball players at Allegheny College. One of us should have caught the ball, but 3 guys had gloves. Out of the 4, nobody caught the foul ball. So that's my 3 down.
Hopefully we get to a point where one of our 3 down isn't like a viral clip of like a guy stealing a foul ball from a little kid, because nothing irritates me more.
We'll have plenty of ammunition.
I hope not, but I don't have any bigger pet peeve than when that happens. Rich Donnelly, Yohan Moncada, a part of your 3 down.
Yeah, Johan has had a rough start for the Angels. He's hitting a robust .083. He's had 36 plate appearances and 18 strikeouts. Let me see. I went to Xavier University, but I know math. He's on a pace to strike out 300 times this year. So hopefully he gets in a cage this week, fixes it, and we won't have to talk about him. Maybe he'll be our up for next week.
Well, I'm glad he didn't end up with the Pirates.
Yeah, so that name was talked about. Mine is the Red Sox offense. 6th highest payroll so far in baseball in 2026, $200 and some million, and one of their highest paid players in Trevor Story, hitting like 157. So Pirates are seeing a little bit of that with Marcell Ozuna, 8-figure contract, not living up to his end of the bargain. The Red Sox are getting that from multiple guys that they have on 8-figure deals. Again, the 6th highest payroll in baseball, and they're 4-8 to start the 2026 campaign. Let's take a look around the Central, the National League Central standings. The Milwaukee Brewers, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Cincinnati Reds, all off to pretty darn good starts. The Chicago Cubs, again, this is why the baseball season's 162 games. They are 6-6 and technically in last place. But I'll tell you what, guys, as we look at these early standings, I have a feeling that between at least Milwaukee and Chicago and Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, TBD, and I still think St. Louis is on pace for a rebuilding season, but at least 3 of these teams might be in a 1, 2, 3 game separation for a majority of the season, getting into the dog days, June, July. And if there's a couple of teams in this division that are only separated by a few games, it's going to make for fun baseball, not just for watching the Pirates and talking about them, but monitoring what these other teams are doing around the Central as well.
Yeah, and the Reds lost their last game in the series with the Marlins, but I'll tell you, despite the injuries to their pitching, Hunter Green being out, the Reds off to a very good start. And I'm looking forward to seeing them come to PNC Park. It's May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. That ought to be a pretty good weekend at PNC Park. But if I'm correct, I think Pitt graduation is Sunday the 3rd, and I think the marathon might be that day too. So that would be a busy Sunday downtown.
And not quite as busy as a couple of weeks for the NFL draft, which if you've been on the North Shore and caught a couple of Pirate games so far this season, you've seen the NFL draft stage, and that thing is massive, to say the least. Let's take a look before we wrap up a couple of the matchups for the MLB on Fox and Sunday Night Baseball on NBC and Peacock. First, for the Major League Baseball slate on Fox for the next couple of Saturdays, the Red Sox and the Cardinals this Saturday, April the 11th, an NL East matchup between the Braves and the Phillies on April 18th, and another NL Central team featured off against an AL Central squad, the Tigers and the Reds, Saturday, April 25th at 7 p.m. on Fox. Sunday Night Baseball on NBC for this Sunday, the Guardians and the Braves on NBC, April the 12th with a 7 p.m. start, and the next 2 Sunday Night Baseball games on Peacock, Braves and Phillies on the 19th, Angels at the Royals on the 26th. And again, that's the look at the MLB on Fox and Sunday Night Baseball on NBC and Peacock for the next couple of weekends. Again, guys, I think the theme of the weekend, Pirates are 3-10 last year against the Cubs. If they want to be a playoff team this year, that's got to improve, and we'll find out very quickly this weekend at Wrigley Field.
Looking forward to it. Always fun to watch games from Wrigley.
And they're allowed to raise that Jolly Roger on the road, too.
Absolutely they are. And there's no rule against it that says you can't do it. So hopefully they're able to get a couple this weekend in Wrigley. For Rich Donnelly, Don Sloan, I'm Jack Hillgrove. This has been the Bucco Triple Play. Follow us on YouTube, subscribe, like, and listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. We'll talk to you again on Monday and hopefully recapping a series win on the road at Wrigley Field. We'll talk to you then. See ya.